One love to the humble. One love to the humble. One love to the humble. Black men and women are extremely divided. Extremely divided. When you look at the current condition of our community, we cannot afford to be divided. We can't afford to be divided. I mean, look at our community. We cannot afford to be divided. We're like 13.6% of the population. And that's around 40 million of us, which is probably about 7% female and probably about 6% male. Now, when you look at the numbers, and that's based on, that's just our entire population, 40 million. It's not including those of us who are in prison. It's not including those of us who are, it's not including people that's in prison. It's not including people that may be LGBTQ. I mean, well, let me rephrase that. It's including everybody. But what I'm trying to explain is, when it comes to relationships and how we come together to procreate and further along the race, there's some things that's going to be in the way of that. One of those things is going to be, you got guys that's in prison for long periods of time. Not saying they cannot reproduce, but typically when you get 10, 15 years in prison, that throws off your opportunities. Because when you come out, of prison, you're going to be much older and you got to get reacclimated back to society, which is going to hinder your chances of getting started, getting set up. You know, it takes time to build up a career. It takes time to build up money. It takes time to get yourself established. And then with the current way that black women are selected, everybody got a high standards, unrealistic but high. That throws it off. Then you got to think about the LGBTQ side. I don't care what you do with your life. You sleep with whoever you want, but that's going to interfere. That you got to count that into the equation. So many things that you got to put into the equation. And then now we got this division right here because of an election. Well, it wasn't because of that. This is just an additional thing that's been put up. This additional wall that's been put in between us. An additional wall. That's what this is. And it's just social media. Well, it is just social media, but what tends to happen, these trends typically be on social media, and then they flood off social media into real life. Now, people may not talk about it the same way they talk about it on social media, but what's going to happen is people are going to start acting on it because they're very influential, right? Very influential, because women can be influenced very quickly. They tend to go with what everybody else is doing. They don't stand on their own in most cases. They typically tend to, if this person said it, they go with it. Everybody get on the same page and on code with each other. That's typically how they move. So if the trend is to move like this, then that's another issue. And then instead of coming together, it's a battle, right? It's a battle. It's like they want to be to do the same things as the men doing. It don't work. I'm gonna tell you something. You can try to do that until your last breath. It's never gonna work. And it's been so ingrained at this point that people are willing, that they're willing to go the rest of their lives by themselves, all because they don't want to come to and work together. See, the unique thing about the black race is that we're in a different scenario, different situation than everybody else. Our situation is much different. We can't operate with the expectations like everybody else can. We got different circumstances. We got different obstacles. We got different things that has happened to us that put us in a situation that we can't look at things like everyone else. And the problem is, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to look at it. They're trying to judge us as men off of what other people are doing. It don't work. So they say, oh, but this people can do this, and they taking care of theirs like this, and they taking care of theirs like that. We can't do that. We have to work together. We always work together. When we were living in the worst of times in this, we worked together. But for some reason today, it ain't no working together. It's I want to be you. I want to be in your spot. I'm going to battle for your position. You got your own position over here. Why are you trying to fight for this position right here? And it's causing conflict. Men are not going to be feminine. It's just not going to happen. Ain't no man being in a feminine role going to be a happy man. It ain't no woman being in a masculine role going to be a happy woman, even though they're telling you to do this. They're telling you, they're convincing women to be masculine and go out and be like that. Wrong. It's never ever going to work. And we, out of all races, we cannot afford that. We already got a degenerate culture. We already got the worst of the worst of everything. And now we got more divide. Oh, let me add in. Don't forget about those of us who are being unalived through gang violence. Don't give me no police brutality. That don't even touch the scale. They didn't even make it its way on the charts. Very entertaining street back here. Excuse me for that. I like recording outside. And getting it in. But they didn't even include in those of us who are being unalived every day through gang violence and other type of violence. So that takes all of them out of the equation. But we still fighting amongst each other on some nonsense. It's like we enjoy it. Battling every day. You go on social media, scroll down, all you see is one side saying this about this side, then this side come back and saying that. The man say this about the woman come back and say this about the men. It's a battle. But I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not gonna work. And we pretty much have already been put into a permanent underclass as a whole. There are some ones of us that's gonna move out of that, but for the most part, most people don't rise above what they understand. So if you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the understanding, you pretty much gonna stay right where you at the whole way through. And that's gonna be most of us. Millions of us will never ever rise above our current situation because of the mindset that we have. That's gonna be the true facts. See, the thing about being a black male, a black man has the ability to date not only black women, but any other woman for that matter. Because they're desired. But black women don't have that same option to date anybody that they want. There are some exceptions to the rule where some of them are sought after by others, but for the most part, they're not. Because everybody, all other races of men look at that. They see that. They're like, I'm not dealing with that. Then they'll deal with it for a night or two, but nothing serious for the most part. And it ain't that black women wouldn't do it, because if people were coming in droves to marry them, they'll take the option. But it's just that they can't get along with the black men. But they can do it with everybody else, because they've been convinced something of us that's not true. They're convinced to see us in a certain way that makes it so it's extremely difficult or impossible to work together. That's why you have all this division. That's why you have all these problems. And then they may say something like, well, we'll go overseas and date black men overseas. No. You do not want to do that. Because you ain't seen, you think we are bad because of you think we are bad. You think we don't, you think we the hard to get along with. They ain't putting up with that. They're culturally, they're very different from the easiest you're going to have it is with the American black man. Because you go overseas to like Africa, culturally they're not the same. And they are not putting up with their mouth. They are not. You talk about some abuse. You ain't go up, try to act like that with them. See what happens. They ain't coming for you either, because they ain't putting up with it. They definitely not gonna put up with it. And you're gonna have to conform to them. It ain't gonna be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Ain't gonna be none. And see, they don't have to worry about it, because the women over there are already, brought up to be the way they need to be. But we are divided, and it's ridiculous. Now this election has divided us even more. We have never been the people that has ever been worried about who's in whatever seat in the White House, because we took care of each other. We did everything amongst ourselves. We didn't need that because we had each other. And now we done got away from having each other, and look at the problems that we have. Look at the problems we have because we have got away from needing each other. And it's going to get worse. This whole time, this whole 4 years right here, watch what happens. It's going to be continuously bickering back and forth. Continuous. Keep driving that wedge deeper, getting that divide deeper. To the point where it's not going to be any recovery. Now, if 7% of the population is female, like 6% male, and that means more women on the planet, more women than men. That's just the way it's designed, by design anyway. That's the way God made it. He made it so there'll be more women than men, because women are the ones who carry the man's children. So they need to be more of them than it is men. That's just the way it's designed. You don't need as many men as you need women, because one man can impregnate 30, 40 women. So you don't need a lot of men. That's why it's a lot of women versus men. See, women can only carry one child unless it's twins, but you only get pregnant once every 9 months. That's why it's more of you than it is men. It's by design, to ensure that the races and that the people continuously can reproduce, to procreate. That's the purpose of the reason why it's that way. Now, there have been some societal norms that's been put in place to keep men from doing to keep us from doing certain things a certain way. But that's the reason why it's more women than it is men on the planet. But particularly, I'm talking about something different now. Now it's even more women than it is men, more black women than black men. The number probably gonna keep going up, because with us, we offing each other in the streets, we in the prisons, and then the LGBT thing that just narrows it down smaller and smaller. And then when women have these high standards, you already got a smaller group to pick from, and then your standards way through the roof. How do you think it's gonna work out? You're gonna have to. It's the math says that either you're gonna have to share, or you just be without. But you're making it easy for you to be alone with the way you're moving at this. If you're supposed to be, you want to be on the same, like you want to have the same authority as a man. You're never gonna get it. Man has that naturally. He don't have to try. It's natural. You ever seen in a relationship where the man and woman are together, and then the children say, the children do something, or the moms tell the children to do something. Children don't do it, or they don't do it fast. The father come in there and say one time and they move. He didn't yell, he don't have to yell, he don't have to do nothing. He just get up and go do what I said, and they go. Because it's natural. It's nothing that he's doing. Yeah, it's nothing he has to force himself to do. See, you as a woman, your job is to be nurtured. So you don't have that natural oomph in you, and it's sensed by it. The children can sense that. They know that. That's why they're not worried about you telling them something. They do it on their own time. Versus the other way around, when it comes to the father, they're not going to do that. They're going to move when he says so. But anyway, so you can't be that. Just be good at what you're good at on your side. Stop trying to cross over to this side and try to be this. But see, that's a jealousy thing. A lot of women hate men because it's a clear representation of God. And they hate it. Reason why they fight it. Those who fight it, that's why they fight against it, because they hate it. But we're in trouble, man. And I don't think people really understand it for real. Like, really understand it. How detrimental this is to us by not being able to get along with each other on simple things, like structure in the household, like being together as one, like not having children outside of wedlock. You're supposed to be married first before you have children. I don't care what you've been told. I don't care how much leeway they give you to do what you want. You're supposed to be married in a solid relationship before you having children. Our community is the worst for that. We had 70-80% of the children born outside of a marriage. 80%? That means only 10% is born within a marriage. Out of a 40 million people, well, not 40 million. It's 40 million of us, not all in relationships. But of those who are in a relationship, I mean, of those 40 million who was having children, 80% is out of wedlock. 80%? That means almost every one. There's only like 20% that's born inside of one, inside of a marriage. That's ridiculous, man. And then, even with that being said, it's a battle again for what's gonna happen with the children. If she feels like he's not doing what she want him to do, the way she want him to do it, she gonna battle him against getting to see the children. And who is that affecting? It's affecting the children. See, she don't love the children. There's no way you can love the children and do that to them based upon how you feel about a situation. That's a battle. And if you are, and then for the men who just don't want to be involved, you wrong too. Both people are wrong in the situation. It's not a one-sided thing like they try to make it seem like, oh, it's just the man's fault. It's both people's fault for doing this stuff, creating these situations. It's wrong, man. The children are the only ones who suffer. The children are suffering because the jealousy kicks in. The anger kicks in. It didn't go the way I wanted. He's not doing what I want him to do. I want child support. So many women have abused that child support system that it's ridiculous. The child support system is ruined because of abuse. You living in poverty and you only surviving because of child support. That's the only reason why you're making it. But you rather live in poverty and receive child support than working together and having more. Both of y'all putting your incomes together, but you want to be like, you want to live like other races doing what they do because they can sit at home and not do nothing all day. That's not us. We got to work together. There are some of us that can do that, but that's a small percentage. Majority of us will have to work together. You can't look down on him because he's not buying you a Bugatti and a $500,000 house. You got to work with what you got, because that ain't what life is all about in the first place. Life is about family, friends, and relationships. And you can survive on what you got to survive on. All this fancy stuff, where does it go when you pass? What does it matter in the end? What does it really matter? It don't matter. That's the thing. None of this stuff really matters. It's good to have, but it ain't gonna do nothing for you but for so long. So why put so much emphasis on that and not emphasis on building something strong that can last for generations, like unity? That will go further than the house. Because the only thing that happen with the house is that everybody gonna fight over it when you pass and create more drama. So it really don't matter. I'm not saying it don't have it. I'm saying it doesn't carry no weight. What's important is unifying. And everybody working to build a better community versus working separately to tear it down. We don't really have a community. We just a bunch of people just out here. We don't have a community. That's not what, because you got, in order to have a community, you gotta have family. Otherwise, we just a bunch of people just out and about. We're divided. We're divided. And I don't really think there's going to be any repairing to this at all. Because people are going to keep teaching this same mindset over and over and over again. They're going to keep teaching this mindset. Unless it's not going to change until people start getting married again and making it as important. But I don't think it's going to happen because some kind of way people think that that's oppression. But you out here uncovered, you out here alone, you out here nervous every night, you out here worried about everything all the time because you don't have nobody to lean on and talk to and share and grow with. You don't have nobody to take that burden off your shoulders and they carry some of the load. You try to do it all by yourself. Men and women are suffering separately. You should come together. Find a way to come together. I mean, I may be talking to just to be talking. I may be just talking to talk because I don't know if it's going to really work. All I know is we divided and it's ridiculous. I mean, I said a lot of different things. I'm kind of all over the place. But you get the point of what I'm trying to say. Man, we out here looking crazy right now. And this battle, competition between us, it's only going to ruin us. It's not going to make things better. The women fighting for this, the men's fighting for this. It might be a hopeless cause, man. It might be all the way over for real. Maybe it ain't no way back. Maybe it's just over. Maybe it's just over. Y'all take care.